The day that this video releases, I will be turning 30 years old. I would not say that they have been the easiest 30 years. I wouldn't say that they've been the worst. People certainly have it worse than me. But I have learned a few things in those 30 years. So today I wanted to go over a list I made of 30 things I learned before turning 30. Now, not all of these are things I'm perfect at. I don't think I'm perfect at anything, if I'm being honest. So I just want to give my insight a little bit about what it's been like for the first 30 years of my life. I also considered doing a video just about the first 30 years of my life, but I thought that was a very personal video. And if you guys want to see it, leave a comment. Also, leave a comment if the facial hair looks okay. I'm trying something different in this video. By the time this video releases, this will probably be gone. I'll probably shave it off. Might try like a mustache, but just let me know how you feel about like the full goatee look, because I'm just curious about it right now. So the first thing that I learned in my 30 years, or the first thing I want to talk about learning in my 30 years, was kind of a tough one to have to learn. And sadly, it was something I learned pretty early on. Family doesn't always have your best interest in mind. I don't have a good relationship with my mom or my remaining grandparent. I don't talk to some of my siblings. And a lot of the time I hear from people that I need to forgive simply because it's my mom. I need you to understand I get that to a degree, but not everybody's situation is the same. And in my situation, without getting into too many details, that is not something I'm ready to do. That is something I've tried to do in the past, and it has seemed to only backfire on me. So I just want everybody watching this video to know, just because somebody is family doesn't mean you need to tolerate nonsense. I don't know how else to say it other than that. Now, the second thing on my list is you should chase your dreams even if you can't achieve them. Now, I want to explain that a little bit. You're going to have dreams in life. I've had too many dreams in life. For a while, I wanted to be a professional magician. For a little bit, I wanted to be an actor. And now I want to do YouTube. And there's been a lot of jobs in there that I've been curious about. I wanted to do like the FBI. At one point, I wanted to go to clown college. Like there's a lot of stuff I've considered doing. But a lot of those things I've just simply given up on. Now, I've been doing YouTube videos for a couple of years, and it's not taking off, but it's something I like to do. It's something that I have a dream surrounding. I really want to get to a point where my YouTube videos do well enough for me to help other people make YouTube videos. My main dream in life is to be able to help other people post content that they like, because nobody was really here to help me other than some random YouTube videos. So I just think it's important to try to chase your dreams, even if you don't think you're going to achieve them. You should hope that you're going to achieve them. You should try to achieve them. I think if you just completely give up, you're not going to be putting in as much effort, but I do think it's important. The third thing on this list is that not being manly is okay. This is one that took me a very long time to learn. Sometimes it's okay to not be manly. Showing emotions is okay. Smelling good is okay. Dressing well feels nice sometimes. Just wearing a fancy outfit, putting on shoes that you really like, wearing some jewelry. If you want to wear a fancy bracelet or some rings, and you know that the people around you are going to think that that's too feminine for you, it doesn't matter. Wear what you like to wear. Be who you like to be. I'm a huge fan of mixed drinks. A lot of guys think you should just drink beer. Mixed drinks taste better. You get drunk faster. I don't need beer. I haven't had a beer in probably a couple of years. I've had like cider, but I'm not going to seek out like a Bud Light. Like that's just not the kind of person I am. Or even a heavier beer like Budweiser or Guinness that I used to drink when I was new to drinking. I'm not going to seek that kind of stuff out anymore. Because I'm okay with people thinking that I'm not the most manly person around. The fourth thing on this list is that some people are mean out of enjoyment. Some people just want to be mean to people. They like making people feel bad. And that's something that you have to learn to accept. It is something that I wish wasn't true. I wish everybody was just decent to each other. I don't like defending myself in comment sections. And honestly, nowadays I'm just trying to shrug most things off. That's going to come up a little bit later. But some people just want to be mean, and there's not really anything you can do about that. You just need to accept it and keep moving forward. The fifth thing on this list is it is normal to get mad. It is not normal to get aggressive or violent. A lot of guys associate anger with fighting. Some women associate anger with fighting. You don't have to hit something when you're mad. You shouldn't be punching walls. You certainly shouldn't be punching people. I think another part of this is it's good to know how to fight a little bit. I've been in a lot of fights when I was growing up, not really as an adult, but it's okay to know the basics of fighting. It is not impressive to brag about fighting. It's not something you should be seeking out as an adult, unless you're like doing it professionally or even semi-professionally. If you're doing like boxing matches or MMA, it's cool to let your friends and family know so that they can come out and support you. But otherwise, it's not really a flex to be like a good fighter that gets in fights a lot. I mean, if you're the guy that's always hitting people at the bar, I don't think that's an impressive thing. If you're hitting your loved ones, that's certainly not an impressive thing. It's something that I very much detest. I've been hit by people that I care too much about in the past, and it's just not necessary. If you're getting angry enough to throw hands with people, you've got to go see somebody. Someone can help you out with that. My sixth thing on this list is to try to get out of your comfort zone. Try going to a movie by yourself sometimes. That's what I used to do before I got married. Now I go to movies with my wife. But in the past, I would just go see a movie by myself because I knew it would make me uncomfortable. I would go walk around a mall by myself because I knew it would make me uncomfortable. Sometimes I've worn outfits that I'm not super confident in because I want to be uncomfortable for a bit. I think it's good exposure therapy, especially if you have anxiety, is about just being out in public. A thing that I've recently been doing that makes me incredibly uncomfortable is carrying around like a fancy camera to take pictures of things. To me, it's a fancy camera. A lot of people probably don't like it because it is a Micro Four Thirds camera. But like, I like to take pictures of things. I like to go to the park and take pictures of plants and bridges. I'm a big bridge photography guy. I just love taking pictures. So just try something where it's going to put you a bit out of your comfort zone and just run with it. Just try not to worry about what people are thinking about you, because there's a decent chance they're not thinking about you, or it's just like a passing thought. They probably won't remember you later that day. Now, a little bit of a contradiction for go outside of your comfort zone is don't get a tattoo sleeve if you don't want people to bring it up all the time. I got a tattoo sleeve a couple years ago. I don't talk about it very often, but like, I hate when people come up to me in public and compliment my tattoo sleeve. I don't love talking to strangers. So anytime somebody does it, it just makes me uncomfortable, which I should be accepting from that last point. But like I said, I'm not perfect at all on this list, but it does just make me very uncomfortable for people to bring up my sleeve. I have a Spider-Man sleeve, which was also probably part of the mistake there. And it's something that I just avoid talking about until somebody brings it up to me. So if you don't want it brought up a lot, just don't get a tattoo sleeve. You shouldn't have to like cover your arm if you don't want to be bothered in public. Now, in the same vein as get out of your comfort zone, just be comfortable being uncomfortable. Silence is okay in a conversation. It's okay to just not say anything in response to somebody. It's okay to sit on a couch with a friend or family member and just not talk. This is something I'm very bad at because I like to fill empty space. I don't even like to be alone without like extra noise in the background. So this is something that I'm working on, but it is okay to be uncomfortable. Embarrassment is normal. If something happens out in public, just try to push it out of your thoughts. Being uncomfortable is just important for growth. If you think about it, you're going to the gym, you have to be uncomfortable. You're going to have some pain and some stress in your muscles that you're not used to. Being uncomfortable can just be important to continue growing as a person and to achieve your dreams. You've just got to be uncomfortable sometimes. My ninth thing on here is to spend less on clutter. This is something that I've recently been thinking a lot about. In prior videos, I had a bookshelf back here full of Funko Pops. The TV stand was full of Funko Pops. My display case downstairs was full of Funko Pops. I have a lot of things that I never touch. I had a lot of clothes that I hadn't worn in years. And I've started the process of decluttering. I'm selling a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, which I'm not super comfortable with because it's weird to meet somebody and sell them something you've had in your house for a while. And I just don't care enough about money, so I've been selling things way cheaper than I probably should be. But I just want to declutter at this point in my life. I liked all of this stuff when I bought it. But at some point, I realized I just didn't like looking at it anymore. It didn't do anything for me. And it just felt messy, even though I had it very well organized. Because there was just so much. I had hundreds of Funko Pops at one point. And I'm just kind of past that point in my life. I think you should consider the price per use of an item. So what that means is like this microphone. This microphone cost me $100. I have pod mics that cost me $100, and I've probably used them 100 times. I mean, that's probably $1 per use at the most. I say 100 times, it's probably more than 100 times. I have microphones that I bought that I've used once. That's not a good deal. I mean, you have to consider that kind of stuff. Are you going to ever use it? If you're not going to use it, it might not be worth buying. And honestly, just consider a purchase for at least a few days before you buy something. I'm really bad about impulse buying. My wife will tell you I'm really bad about impulse buying. Just think it through for a little bit. The 10th thing I've learned on this list is to take chances sometimes. So I'm not going to tell you where I work, but I work in a factory. I was just a production employee when I started there almost 10 years ago. And I decided one day after having conversations with another employee that I wanted to move up into a production lead position. Production leads are pretty much just people that help out other employees on the floor and help guide decisions made in the work environment. I was shy. I didn't talk to a lot of people. Most people on the shift probably hadn't had a conversation with me before. So the only way I was going to move up is I needed to get out of my comfort zone, like we talked about earlier, and just start talking to people. So I started having conversations with other employees. I started talking more to my bosses and to the experienced employees that could teach me more stuff. I ended up learning every part of the factory. I ended up making good connections. I showed leadership abilities by just kind of suggesting fixes and planning, organizing the department that I was in. And eventually I got the position. And then I wanted to get the step up from that. So I learned every gap that I had missed. Every department that I wasn't completely sure of, I took work instructions, which are just like guides on how to do different parts of the job, and I learned the job. And then I wanted to move up farther than that. So I learned how to handle difficult conversations. I learned how to interact with people that have different communication styles than you. How to properly recruit somebody. I went through the interviewing processes. I went through time recording. I learned a lot of stuff. I read some leadership books. I learned a lot of stuff to become a production supervisor. And I think that's probably as far up as I want to go in this company. But At the same time, YouTube's kind of become that thing. I started a YouTube channel to play video games on. I don't play video games on YouTube anymore because I decided I would rather talk about my greatest interest, which is Dungeons and Dragons, which is what I do over on my main channel, NatBlue. If you want to go follow, I think it's NatBlue96. And that was another chance I took. I had never played D&D. I got into a group full of people that I barely knew and loved the game. And then I ran games for people that I also didn't know very well. And then I started a YouTube channel to talk about things that I've learned playing D&D, topics that I'm interested in within D&D, different homebrew stuff that I've done. I'm starting a new series on there soon about how to become a better DM from my perspective. I'm becoming a better DM. And then into my YouTube career, I joined some podcast with a friend of mine where I get to meet new people. And one of them is the Jellyfish Manifesto. We interview like creative people. Our guests are all part of some creative venture. So maybe they're an artist or an author or a musician or a tattoo artist. We had somebody on that just is really into like plants that don't need water, and that was really cool. We had a pool guy on that just talked about the intricacies of keeping a pool correctly. So mixing the chemicals and doing a pool opening and stuff like that. And then I have a game channel called Trash Buddy Games where we play like board games and card games, and eventually we're going to be doing a D&D campaign. We've recorded a couple of episodes. I've been part of a podcast called Quickies where we just talk about random topics. But this was all me kind of just trying new things and taking chances. So I would really recommend taking chances. Number 11 on the things I've learned in my 30 years is that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. We don't need to spend much time on that. I'm really hoping that's still accurate. I haven't been in school in a while. Number 12, diet becomes more important as you get older. I grew up a really skinny kid. I had an insane metabolism. I could eat as much as I wanted to. I was working out 6 to 7 days a week. And as I got older, that kind of caught up to me. I stopped working out as much because work got in the way. It was hard to go into a gym after working like a 12-hour shift. And then I just stopped. Oh, not even stopped. I kept eating the same. So my metabolism got substantially worse. But I kept eating as much food. I kept eating as unhealthy of food. And I gained a lot of weight. And now I'm at a point of my life where I want to lose a lot of weight. And that's kind of just a difficult thing to do right now. So I would really recommend getting your diet in check while you're older, continuing on with exercise, and not letting it slip too much because it gets really hard to recover. Or at least it did for me. 13, this is a more recent thing, but alcohol leads to more hangovers now. So when I was younger, I didn't really get hangovers. It wasn't a thing that I had to worry about. And now I get hangovers and they're pretty long. So this is something that I definitely would have changed if I could go back. I just wouldn't drink as much because the hangovers are pretty bad. 14, some people just aren't worth the energy. Maybe you have a very negative person in your friend group or a very negative coworker. Just don't pay attention to them. Their negativity might be contagious. It might make you feel worse about the situation that you're in, and that's not something that you need to deal with. 15, this is similar to take new risks, but try new things. Specifically, what I'm talking about is like food and drinks. So like I was a very picky eater growing up. I'm still kind of a picky eater, but every couple of weeks I try to try something new. I tried new food. I'm very big on trying new drinks. I might try too many new drinks. It's also good to try like new scents. Maybe you've been using the same cologne for a decade now and you just want to give a different scent a shot. I'm weird about this in that every time I buy like shampoo or body wash, I buy a different scent every single time. I don't know why. I just like to change it up every time I get a new soap. Number 16 is not much is better than a good pen. I have a few favorites. My favorite pen that I've ever bought is a Bastion pen, Bastion, and it has like this lever action bolt to get the pen tip out. And then I just really like the Polka Jotter pens. They're a lot cheaper. The Bastion pen was probably like $50. They both have interchangeable ink cartridges. The Polka Jotter pen is probably $20 or less. It's not that expensive, and it just writes really well, and it just feels really good in your hand. I like a premium metal pen, and I write a lot of stuff down, so I have a lot of pens that I just really enjoy. I'm trying out a different pen right now. This is just a pen that you can buy at Walmart. I wouldn't be able to tell you the name, but it has like a plus sign on it. And it's a pretty solid pen. I do like those ones as well. I think the blue one writes a little bit better than the black ink, but I just love a good pen. Number 17 is to try to keep your childlike whimsy. Now, I had this worded as stay childish, and my wife said that I might need to reword it. What I mean is just don't get rid of your childhood hobbies. If you like playing video games, play video games. I love video games. If you collect comic books or you just like to read them, read comic books. Maybe you're into Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon, Tamagotchi. I mean, just you don't have to get rid of stuff just because you're an adult. You can keep enjoying the stuff you liked as a kid. For me, that is mostly video games. I've always been a fan of video games, even though I've never been good at them. But I also do love comic books. I don't collect many right now, but it's mostly a price thing because they come out with so many and then you have to buy a lot of issues. But I love comic books. I love video games. I like figurines. I'm trying to limit that. Like I said, I'm getting rid of a lot of Funko Pops. But I mean, just keep doing what you like to do. You don't have to give stuff up just because you've aged. 18 on this list, and something that I struggle with a lot, is it is okay to be wrong. I know a lot of people that will argue until they're blue in the face that they are right. Even when they're introduced with evidence that they are wrong, they will continue to argue about it. It's okay to just admit, hey, it looks like I was wrong there, and just move on. I am bad at this. I'm a very argumentative person, but like, it is just okay to be wrong. Number 19 is to learn little things to save money. So it's good to know how to do an oil change. I understand some newer cars, it is harder to do an oil change than it should be. So maybe you want to take it in the shop just for some extra time saved. And it's okay to still take it to the shop. Even this next thing on here, like changing a tire, it's okay to still have a professional do that. But honestly, if you don't think you can afford the extra money, it's just good to know. Anytime that I've fallen on harder times, it's just nice to know how to do those small things that your car needs so that you don't have to bring it into like a mechanic. And then it's just good to know how to unclog your drain. I think a lot of drain issues that people run into are simple fixes that don't need a plumber. Now, if your pipe is corroded or something like that, you probably need a plumber to come in. But a lot of the time, you can just snake your own drain. You can plunge your own toilet. I think toilets, it's also important to know how to fix like the flap and everything. There's just small things that I think are good to learn. Learn how to tie a tie. It wouldn't really save you money, but just learn how to tie a tie. 20 on this list is hydrate the day before. So if you know that you're going to be doing strenuous activity, if you know that it's going to be unusually hot outside, or inside if you walk inside of a building that's just not very well air conditioned, it's better to hydrate the day before instead of trying to catch up, because it is hard to catch up on hydration. If you start to get dehydrated, it's not easy to bounce back. There's things like Liquid IV and Pedialyte and everything, but it's still a lot easier to just try to hydrate before you do the thing. And this is also one that I'm not very good at. I'm not a very hydrated person. It's kind of a big issue of mine that I'm often dehydrated. And I don't help myself because I mostly drink like Canada Dry and stuff. Like this stuff is my bread and butter, but I don't drink a lot of water and I probably should. And I understand that. Number 21 is nothing feels better than being charitable, but only give what you can. This is something that I have found myself doing in the past where I am not very financially stable, but I still give more money than I should to either a cause or just somebody that needs it. I've given a lot of money away to just people, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's great to be giving. I try to donate to charities. We go to charity events, my wife and I. We try to do what we can with the little money that we have. But I think it's important to not over donate. So we can tie this back into the church a little bit. So a lot of religious people believe that they have to donate 10% of their income. And this is not me trying to get into religion because I'm not a very religious person, but I'm okay with people being religious. But I think the best thing I heard from when I was religious, that you should donate 10% of what you are comfortable donating or what you can spare. So let's say you make $1,000 in a week, but you need $800 of that to go towards bills. I mean, this is a weird example, but you need $800 to go towards bills. That means you should not give 10% of $1,000. You shouldn't give $100. You should give 10% of $200. So instead of $100, you can give $20. It's still better than donating nothing, but you shouldn't put yourself in a bad situation because you're giving. I think it's great to donate. Like I said, I love donating. But it's also just okay to donate your time. Volunteer at an animal shelter. Go be that guy outside of Walmart with a bell around Christmas trying to get donations for the Salvation Army. Do something like that where you don't necessarily have to donate your money. You can just donate time, which might be more valuable in some instances anyways. Those guys need bodies to help them as well. 22 is staying busy does not mean staying productive. I tell everybody I'm a very busy guy, but a lot of days I don't think I get a lot done. Like I can be very busy around the house, but that doesn't mean I cleaned the kitchen. Like there's a difference between being busy and being productive. Being busy might be bad. Being productive probably wouldn't be. I don't know how it could be. So just remember that. 23, your best friends are the ones that you can stop talking for long stints. So I'm not the most social person, and I'm not the best at keeping friends. And one of the main reasons I'm not the best at keeping friends is sometimes I'll go like 2 months without messaging somebody. But my best friends are the ones that are okay with that. I have a friend that I stopped talking to for probably 5 years, at least 5 years. And then we just reconnected and have been fine. Like it was like we didn't stop talking at all. I think that's just really important in a good friendship, especially for somebody like me. 24, I think you should learn a few signature meals. You should be able to cook a few things. If that's just that you can cook things in an air fryer or on a grill, that's okay. I think it's important to learn a couple of things in like a pot or a pan, but know a couple of meals. It's important that you know how to cook for yourself, but it's also good if you need to cook for somebody else. My wife does most of the cooking around the house, but I cook like once a week sometimes. So it's just good to know that kind of stuff. I have a signature meal that I call the Dylan Special, and it's incredibly unhealthy for me, but I just love making it. It's pretty much just waffle fries with chopped up sausage and cheese on it, and I just love how it tastes. It's just incredibly bad for me, and I understand that. Number 25 ties a little bit back to one earlier, which was that people just want to be mean sometimes, and that is that people want you to respond to rude comments. This is something that I struggle a lot with as a YouTuber. If I post like a short and somebody's mean on the short, I want to fire back. And a lot of the time, I have fired back. And I know that's just giving them validation to what they said, but it's hard to not engage in that. What I'm trying to say is you shouldn't engage in that. Don't give them that satisfaction. Just ignore the comment and move on. You can hide the comment or something if you really want to. I don't think I've done that yet, but that's always an option. Number 26 is you should never stop learning and growing. It's good to learn new things. You don't have to take it as far as me. I try to learn too many new things. I'm trying to learn how to juggle right now for no reason. I just want to know how to juggle. But it's good to learn new things. Read books sometimes. Watch informational YouTube videos. Stay up to date with like local or national news, maybe international news if you want to. It's just good to learn new things. You should probably check your sources. There are some sources that just aren't going to be as credible. So I would recommend checking your sources. But it's always great to learn. And then you should always be trying to grow as a person. I mean, if you're the same person that you were in high school, that might not be good. You should just be trying to improve yourself. The 27th thing I've learned is not to dwell on past decisions. Who you are now is more important than who you used to be. Does that mean you should forget the decisions you've made in the past? No. It's important to remember what you've messed up so that you don't repeat the same mistakes. But at the same time, it's not important to always be thinking about those mistakes. People are going to mess up. It's part of being human to just make mistakes a lot. I'm not a perfect person. You're not a perfect person. I don't think anybody could be. You're going to screw up. But screwing up is one of the best things you can do. Going back to the growing comment, screwing up fosters growth. You can't improve if you never make the mistakes in the first place. So it's okay to not dwell on them. Just keep moving forward and try to be the best person you can be. 28. So I bought a house last year, and I realized it is very important to ask your home inspector if they checked for bats. So I have an issue where I bought this house, and a few weeks into living there, a bat flew at me in my basement. And since then, I have been dealing with bat problems. I have hired a company, given them way too much money, and I still have a bat in my house in the basement right now. And when I talked to the pest inspection company, they said a lot of home inspectors don't look for signs of bats. So as somebody who has poured a lot of money into bats and understands how expensive of a fix it is, make sure they checked for bats. Just ask them, like, hey, you can ask when you try to get the home inspection, do you guys inspect for bats? Because I think it's just a very expensive thing to have to fix immediately after buying a house. 29 on here is not everyone will like you, and that's okay. This is something I definitely had to learn going up through the ranks at work. People are going to be upset that you're progressing. People are going to be upset that you're doing well. People are going to be upset for you existing. It's just unavoidable. People are just going to be upset. And some people are just going to be mean, like I've said a couple of times. That's okay. That's fine. You can just ignore those people. It's not a big deal if everybody likes you. I definitely had to learn that as I transitioned into making YouTube videos too. Because I've had a lot of people tell me I shouldn't try to post on YouTube. I've had people tell me not to try to stream, which I'm really inconsistent with anyways. But at one point I was streaming like Elden Ring a lot, and I'm bad at that game. And I got a lot of comments that were like, hey, you would probably be better if you didn't stream the game. And I get what they were trying to say, but I mean, I just had to ignore that comment. I pretty much responded to those people, oh, well, I'm having fun streaming it. I don't care if I would be better if I turned off the camera. I was having fun. And I think that's just an important thing to do. And 30 on this list, the last piece of advice I have as somebody who is turning 30 on the day that this releases, is sometimes it's better to go with a small company instead of like a big chain. Just do your research. Sometimes a big chain is a big chain for a reason, and they are a good choice. There are big companies that are just good at what they do. But a lot of the time, the bigger a company gets, the worse like training gets. So going back to the pest control example, I hired a big company, mostly because they had the best availability. They could come out to my house the next day, they could fix it quickly. But what that meant is that I don't think the tech was as well trained as they could have been. And having conversations with a different pest control company that I hired for mice, because of course I also have mice in this house, they made comments about how that company doesn't train their technicians as well as they maybe should. Because they just do so much and they hire so many people that I think it's just easier for things to fall between the cracks. A lot of the time, a smaller company might also just be cheaper. There's exceptions to this rule. A lot of bigger companies will come out for free inspections, where some smaller companies might charge a flat rate for that. But a lot of the time, it's just cheaper to go with a smaller company, and they might just be a better fit. So just do your research, look into a few companies, try to get a few quotes if you can, if you're not like too pressed on time, and just look at reviews. Go to Google reviews and Yelp if that's still around. I know they have like Angie's List and stuff. Just look at different reviews when you're picking a company. Now, that's the entire video. This went a lot longer than I thought it did, or than I thought it would. Let me know in the comments if you liked any of the things I've learned in 30 years. Let me know what you've learned if you're in your 30s. Let me know what I can expect going from here. Because my 20s were a little rough at the beginning. And then as I progressed, they got a little bit better. I got married at 29 or 28, almost 29. I was turning 29 in a couple of months after I got married. So my late 20s were a lot better than my early 20s. And I'm hoping that means that my 30s will continue to be better. So just let me know what you guys think I can expect from my 30s. Okay, and other than that, guys, I hope everybody is having an amazing day. And until next time, peace.